A very good morning to you all. It's 3 minutes past 9 o'clock. A warm welcome to KFM VPN, that's Views, People and News. I'm your host, Judith Atim. And today we are asking, how are current political factors influencing the 2026 polls curve? And with me in the studio, I have the honor to host so far two of my guests. I'll let you know about the other two as soon as they walk in. I have Ms. Sarah Adong, who is the president of the Democratic Party Women's League, and she's also the woman MP aspirant for Zombo District. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning to you, my sister too.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
And Sarah is looking so beautiful in green. I also have with me Honorable Michael Kabaziguruka, Chairperson, Electoral Commission of the People's Front for Freedom. Good morning, Honorable.
Well, a very good morning to you and to the listeners of KFM.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Well, so like you all know, the air is thick with political anticipation as we inch closer to the 2026 elections. The political landscape is more complex and dynamic than ever before, with emerging trends and undercurrents that are shaping the discourse. And ultimately, the decisions of the voters. We're seeing political parties and individuals internally organizing, some still identifying flag bearers through primaries or vetting, while the Electoral Commission is already conducting nominations at the local government level. Security agencies are also on the ground carrying out, preparing for what could be a tense period, with some arrests being made, especially of political actors. Even religious centers are becoming a target for campaigns, prompting warnings from the Electoral Commission about donations. And this morning we're going to delve into what's happening inside our political parties as they prepare, and how individuals are focusing on what gives them an advantage. We'll also examine the implications of these various strategies of the campaigns ahead and discuss what every stakeholder should focus on for a credible and just electoral environment. But before we delve into this conversation, let's just take a quick look at the key stories of the week, starting from last Saturday afternoon, when Bobby Wine's bodyguard Calvin Tassi, popularly known as Bobby Giant, and a former aspirant for the Ginger mayoral race, was arrested as he escorted the area MP Arias Nalukola around the Kawempe North constituency. On Monday, NUP Deputy Spokesperson Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro was arrested from Kawempe Magistrates Court, Kanyanya, where he had gone for the bail hearing of his colleagues Edward Sebufu, popularly known as Edi Mutwe, and Achileo Chivumbi. Bobby Giant and Mufumbiro have since been charged alongside the duo and others and remanded to Lozera Prison. The UPDF Director of Public Information, Major General Felix Kulaije, is on record saying more NUP supporters who participated in drills will be identified, arrested and charged. Mufumbiro, who is aspiring for Nakawa East MP seat, accuses Honorable Michael Kabaziguruka, who is in the studio with us, of orchestrating his arrest. We'll hopefully hear his side. And also on Tuesday, the NUP mayoral candidate for Nakawa Division, Ali Bukenya, also known as Nubian Lee, was also picked up by police immediately after his nomination and driven to his home from the same party on Thursday. Nakandi Winfred, a former aspirant for the Kampala Woman Member of Parliament seat under the NUP party, pulled out of the race, citing what she described as a deeply flawed and unfair internal vetting process. We hope to have Winfred also join us on the panel in a little while. On Monday, the Electoral Commission began nominations for municipality mayoral candidates, city division chairpersons and councillors, an exercise which ended on Wednesday in preparation for the 2026 general polls. Meanwhile, the NRM and FDC yesterday presented signatures backing presidential bids for their flag bearers to the Electoral Commission as part of the nomination process ahead of the 2026 elections. On Tuesday, President Yoweri Museveni, accompanied by the First Lady Janet Museveni, opened the first regional ministerial conference on the East African Community Common Higher Education Area at Munyonyo. The President urged all East African member states to embrace integration as the best road to prosperity, security and transformation for the region. Still on Tuesday, prosecutors at the International Criminal Court began presenting evidence to support their charges against fugitive Ugandan rebel leader Joseph Kony at the Global Court's first ever in absentia hearing. Prosecution states that Kony and his group, the Lord's Resistance Army, also known as the LRA, faces 39 counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity as the fugitive leader terrorized in which they accuse him of terrorizing northern Uganda and inflicting horrors on society, horrors that continue to echo 2 decades later. On Wednesday, His Highness Prince Rahim Aga Khan V began a 3-day official visit to Uganda at the invitation of President Yoweri Museveni. It is His Highness's first official visit to Uganda as the 50th hereditary Imam of the Shia Ismaili Muslims following his accession in February 2025. The visit reflects the Imamate's enduring commitment to Uganda and builds on almost a century of partnership through the Aga Khan Development Network, which holds engagements and institutions contributing to Uganda's social and economic development. And the Toro Kingdom yesterday held a celebration of the 30th Mpango coronation anniversary of His Majesty King Oyo IV, which climaxes today in Fort Portal. King Oyo, who became monarch at just 3 years old in 1995, is marking 30 years on the throne and over the years has become a symbol of unity and modern leadership in the Toro Kingdom, championing causes like education, health and cultural preservation. In the same light, today is the 11th coronation anniversary of the Chabazinga of Busoga, His Royal Highness William Wilberforce Gabula Nadiope IV. The celebrations held at Bugembe, the seat of the kingdom's headquarters, come at a time when Busoga is still jubilating the Chabazinga and his wife, Inebantu Jovia Mutesi's set of twins born on the 27th of last month. And on the foreign scene, street demonstrations in Nepal, which began on Monday from the capital, Kathmandu, over a social media ban, turned violent with protesters attacking government buildings and police opening fire. Though the ban was rescinded, the unrest continued over a broad range of grievances, with tens of thousands of protesters attacking and burning the parliament, the presidential palace and private businesses. On to the world of sport. On Monday, the Uganda Cranes players gave the nation joy after beating Somalia 2-0 in a Group G game of the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers at Mandela National Stadium, Nambole. After 8 matches, Uganda now stands in second position behind group leaders Algeria with 19 points. And, well, that's pretty much it from the highlights of the week. And now, Honorable Kabazigaruka and Miss Sarah Adong, your quick reflections on any of these stories, whether it is sports, whether it is politics, whether it is anything that you want to address your mind to. We start with Sarah.
The lady.
Okay, the lady first.
All right, thank you so much. A very good morning to all our listeners. Our team, I want to thank you so much, and management of KFM. My friend Stephen told me he used to come at Villa Park by then when I was a spokesperson of Sports Club Villa. And I'm still a Villa member. I'm an executive committee member of SC Villa.
I see where this is heading.
So yes. I also want to thank everyone else who's listening to us, especially my Democratic Party members and Ugandans at large. Away from what you have just alluded to right now, the highlights you've given us, there's something I wanted you to add on that I think something that happened yesterday, the creation of new districts during these hard times. You know, the NRM caucus sits, and then of course Raphael Majeze comes out and says, today Tororo has been divided into 3 districts. You have Mukuju, you have Mulanda and Kisoko districts. And then if you go to the western Uganda in the Burimbujo areas, in the Renzori areas, Bugendera district is being created out of Burimbujo district. Whereas we are talking about the hard times in Uganda today, why are we still creating more districts? And yet already our economy is quite very down, you know. And it's a perplexing question, and many Ugandans are asking: is it because that President Museveni and the NRM wants to prolong their stay and add on more and more of support? I don't know, but it's quite very perplexing. Whereas, of course, to the Uganda Cranes, I just need to put a little bit of highlight, being a fact that I come from the sports consortium also. It was quite very good. I watched the game personally in Napoli, but I was not very impressed with the second half game. But at least one thing you can take home is that maybe we are starting now to look at sports investment. But the investment should not be in football only. I have seen the basketball fraternity crying. I mean, the ladies basketball team went to FIBA Women Afro Basket, and Then they finish at the quarterfinal stage. But we did not see such kind of hospitality from State House and Parliament of Uganda. And it's a big question. Is it that who has someone somewhere? The Banyankole say Gambanogo. Maybe football, because football has two Gambanogo, and that is Honorable Engineer Moses Magogo and the Speaker of the Parliament of Uganda, Anita Mong. Maybe basketball also needs to get a Gambanogo. I don't know, but I think resources must be distributed equally. I think those are areas that I want to make. But lastly, my mayhem goes out to the Uganda Police Force. I mean, behind the scenes before we came on air here, I was asking a question. Why the arrest of Alex Mufumbira? Why the arrest of Nubian Lee and the rest? Honorable Michael Kabazirukuka here, who is my fellow panelist today here. I mean, why the panic? If you say you have the numbers, the NRM has been bragging, they have the numbers, they have the machinery, they have everything. So why the panic? This one tells us a lot of what we are going to discuss and what we expect in 2026. It's going to be fire. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Sarah, over to you, Honorable Kabazirukuka.
Well, thank you so much. Well, I'll talk about two things. One, the arrest of our colleagues in the NUP, the Honorable Alex Mufumbira, Bobby Giant, I'm told also Habib Buembo, and so many others who were arrested on purportedly very flimsy charges of drilling. I condemn that in the strongest terms possible, and I want to call upon all political actors, especially those of us on the opposition side, to coalesce and unite against these abductions. We've seen them happening every election cycle. In 2021, we saw the same happening. At the time, they had their kangaroo outfit, the General Court Martial, that they used to oppress those of us in opposition. Thankfully, today, the GCM is no more. As it was then, whatever machinations there are to reinstate it, but it can't be the other GCM that we had in the past. I want to appeal to all Ugandans to stand and be counted on this matter. I will not discuss what my brother said, because I find it very repulsive and not deserving of a comment from myself. But I stand with him nevertheless. And I believe it is my duty to fight for his rights like any other Ugandan who is out there being oppressed by the regime. In Uganda, we say that Kachali Mabaga. Going by what has happened previously and going by the statements of the UPDF spokesperson, the Major General Kulaiji, I don't take what he says lightly, that they intend to arrest many more people. So we have to stand together at such a time and fight for our rights, assert ourselves as citizens of this country.
Do you think the events that are unfolding before our eyes tells us that we are perhaps having a replay of November 2020?
Probably even worse. Because if the CDF can come out and tell this country that I have Eddie Mutwe in my dungeons somewhere teaching him Bunyankore, and the man comes out looking very
frail,
you know, beaten, tortured, his hair shaved, his beard's gone.
And you're making jokes of
And
him.
nobody seems to really have the capacity to rein him in. Not his father, the commander-in-chief, not his uncle, General Saleh, who met the international community and said, you see, these Gen Zs, the parliament has summoned him, and he says, I cannot go before those idiots, or whatever he called them. It is a very sad spectre that we really have to stand and challenge as a country, especially those of us in the opposition. We really, really need to coalesce. We need to unite for the sake of this country. Let's put our egos and personal interests aside and look at our motherland, look at Uganda, and see what we can do together to redeem this country before we look at getting these small positions of MP here, councillor here. We have a country to redeem from the clutches of this dictatorship. Yeah, and secondly, I would want to congratulate the Toro community and the Basoga community on the celebrations of 30 years in the case of Toro and also Busoga, but also congratulate the Isebantu and Inebantu on the set of twins that they recently got. It is a wonderful addition, but in the same vein, I would like to ask these leaders, the traditional leaders, to really be leaders of the people and speak for the people. Speak what touches their people. I believe if they are listening to their people, they would understand that their people are being oppressed, and we expect to hear their voice on these matters, not to simply, cheer Mr. Museveni because of the few goodies that he dangles here and there. We want them to stand with the people of Uganda.
Thank you, Honorable.
Tim,
yes.
I wanted to, I don't know, but how do you expect our cultural leaders and traditional leaders, with the exception of the Kabaka of Uganda? I want to commend him so much because at least he has tried his level best to show that he is a leader for his people.
He's non-partisan.
He's non-partisan completely. I mean, how do you expect someone who is getting donations from government, you're going to organize a birthday party, you're going to organize a wedding, and it is a government coming in. If I look at my place where I come from, Zombo district, Aluru Kingdom, I keep on asking myself several times questions. How often does the king or the prime minister come out to lash at government, call on government? Because what Honorable Michael is trying to put here is that Ugandans have given up on Uganda. And then now if you give up on Uganda as the citizens, the bigger populace, where are our traditional leaders? Because they are supposed to be at the forefront to hold us together and say, look, much as we have our political differences, we do not have to give up on this child or this mother called Uganda. So I think I want to add my voice as a woman, first of all, as a mother. I come from a community where if today, God forbid, war breaks, anything breaks in Uganda, the Congolese don't want us. Where do I run to? Our Ugandans, the Alurus who are in Mahagi, who are trading in Mahagi. 2 weeks ago, you could not even drive to go to Mahagi. Will tell you things are not okay the other side, from the Ituri province side, So we are not safe. You go to South Sudan, our people from north, the part of South Sudan, there's nowhere to run to. So I do not think that some of these, the likes of Kulaije Felix, really are thinking about this country. It's so unfortunate that most of them have amassed a lot of wealth. They have connections. They have where to take their families to go to exile. Whereas for us, we are the mercy of God. So I want to make a call as a mother in this nation. Gentlemen, as you think about your egos, you think about amassing yourself in power, remember that tomorrow this country called Uganda, if it's no more, where do we go to? Look at people in Mogadishu, the Somalis. Go to Eritrea. Go to Sudan, just next to us here, DRC. Do we want our country to go that? I think this is the time that we need to dialogue and put something to table, put our egos aside and think about this mother called Uganda.
Thank you, Sarah. So I want us to start with some broad, generic questions, of course, to get a sense of the political temperature from your different vantage points. As aspirants or individuals in the parties and as the parties, what are you people doing to galvanize supports and momentum right now? But just also, before we go there, what is your reading of the political context today? And if you would compare this to previous election cycles or seasons, what would you say before you let us know what strategies you're employing as individuals and as parties to, build momentum ahead of the coming months?
I think if we go back and look at 2 months ago, or the NRM primaries gives you a projection of what we expect in the general elections 2026. When children of the same womb begin stealing against one another, and the father is watching, and the father is speechless, the father doesn't do anything, that one clearly tells you that the country, or there is no political party called NRM. I am sorry to say this because I think many of the people in the political party called NRM in quotes are just optimists, a bunch of optimists who are not up to thinking about the motherland Uganda and representing the interests of people. In my own district today, up to now, the NRM is divided completely. And for me, that is also good to us, especially us in opposition or us in other political parties, because it's now giving us a dimension and thinking about either at a local level to have a coalition of political parties that are not in the government. Number two, to forge a way forward and give Ugandans a message that, see, you have seen this for yourselves. But also, there is another aspect of the hidden animal called the military, because even if President Museveni wins today, and then he doesn't have the majority of MPs in the parliament, that is also a disservice to him. So what I anticipate of 2026 is in 2021 we had high militarization. I can assure you, in my election in Izumbu, you would see UPDF like this and like, oh my God, what is happening? And you have nowhere to report. Remember, internets were switched off completely. So we were at the mercy of God. We are at the mercy of God. But then look at a case where the NRM members are disgruntled, and many of them who lost in the primaries are turning back to contest, run as independents. That one clearly tells you that now President Museveni and the NRM is going to deploy as much as possible. What about Michael Kabazirukuka here knows? He tested the wrath some years back here in Nakawa. So in 2026, it's just going to be fire. So it means, as political parties that are not in government, we need to tighten our seat belts and be ready for the worst. You're going to have a referee who is biased. You're going to have an assistant referee or linesman who is biased. So what happens? Are you going to run away from the race? Are you going to run away from the football match? No, you got to play, but then you have to think about the tactics. So for me, the NRM primaries has given us a clear indicator that the election in 2026 is not going to be a wedding. It's not going to be something easy, but it is an indicator to us. It's something that we need to forge out a way forward and think about this country and give the best alternative. Because, yes, we know the parliament today. If you listen to the way parliament, you see the way parliament is conducted, surely for a Ugandan who loves this country, you feel like our parliament has lost hope completely. Of course, we give credit to the likes of Honorable Semu Uganda, who has stood out for the last 5 years. I must commend him against all the difficulties and the rest of oppression in the parliament, but the man has stood out. But then, what about the rest? Where are they? Nowhere. Even the leading opposition itself, maybe Joel Senyonyi once in a while, but then you still don't see much. So what do we expect if you have a parliament where MPs cannot speak without fear or favor? MPs are oppressed and suppressed, where the NRM caucus has become the second parliament or the first parliament of Uganda. you know. So it's quite very unfortunate. 2026 is just going to be a little bit difficult, but I think as the political parties, now it's a way for us to think of better strategies. But which strategies do you think about when you have military? That is also another question.
Thank you. Let me also take this opportunity to welcome Ms. Winfred Nakandi. Good morning.
Good morning, Judith and all listeners of KFM. I'm glad to be here. I'm happy to meet my fellow panelists on the show. I would like to congratulate the people of Toro upon the 30th coronation of Omukama, and at the same time the people of Usoga upon the 11th coronation ceremony of the Chabazinga, ultimately the people of Uganda. We are in tough times, but we are set for everything. Yeah.
Well, so Ms. Nakandi is a member of the National Unity Platform Party, and until a few days ago, she was aspiring for the Kampala Woman MP seat. You'll let us know a little later what is really happening or what your next move is. Honorable Kabaziguruka, your reflections. Of course, I was still asking what your strategies are individually and at party level, but before that, I'd like you to weigh in on just your thoughts or your reflections on the political situation as it is right now. We're just months away from the next general elections. Yes.
Well, as my sister Adong says, looking at the recent past, the NRM primaries, for example, where you see NRMs killing themselves or their colleagues, you really have to worry about what they'll do to those of us who are outside the NRM. You saw what happened in Isenjiro. You saw what happened in Zimbabwe with the Honorable Sechkubo and I think Brigadier Rashandi. Now, if that is happening within the NRM setup, what do you think they have in stock for the opposition? Of course, last week we had nominations here in Kampala, nominations of the city mayors, city councillors, and police gave us a sneak preview of what they have in stock for us. Upon nomination, Nubian Lee was arrested, Mayor Mugambe was arrested, all driven to their homes. And this clearly has to worry everyone else out there, because while we are preparing for nominations ourselves as members of parliament, we now know the trend. We suspect that we will probably follow the same script. But most worrying for me is what is happening in the courts. We all know that sometime last year, Dr. Besigye was kidnapped from Nairobi and arraigned before the GCM, the now defunct GCM, charged with crimes related to security and other offences, which were subsequently transferred to the Magistrates Court in Nakawa. Later on, we made an application for bail, and the judge clearly said that Dr. Besigye had met all conditions, but I declined to give him bail because of the nature and gravity of the offense. Now, Dr. Besigye has previously been charged with treason and concealment of treason twice before. In 2005, when he returned from South Africa, he was arrested for treason, rape, and other offenses, terrorism, and he was granted bail, and he fulfilled all the bail conditions. In 2016, after the general elections, he was arrested again, charged with the same offenses. He appeared before the courts until the state withdrew charges for lack of evidence, for want of prosecution. So I really wonder what would prompt the judge this time to say, you have met all the conditions, but I will not grant you bail. Now, that being the case, on clocking 180 days, we know that the laws, the Constitution under Article 23(6)(c) clearly states that on attaining 180 days in custody without being committed for trial in to the High Court, one has to be given mandatory bail. So when Dr. Besigye clocked 180 days, we went to the courts and asked for mandatory bail. First to the magistrate's court here in Akawa, and the magistrate said that is a High Court matter, which is not the position actually, but the legal position. Nevertheless, we went to the High Court and sought mandatory bail. And the judge says, no, Dr. Besigye did not attain 180 days. Now, you wonder how the magistrate accounts for the days when he was under custody of the GCM. Because the GCM was an entity of the state. Uganda Prisons, that has held him for all this long, is also an entity of the state. So to argue that you would only look at the days from when he was charged
under your court
in the magistrate's court to date would be erroneous. It would be a very terrible interpretation of the laws, because he was legally held by the state of Uganda in Uganda Prisons custody. The ruling in the Supreme Court was transfer the files from the GCM to the magistrate's court. So what is happening in the courts is really terrible. Now, after denying him mandatory bail, we again made a fresh application for bail. But looking at the ruling of Justice Waguma in his mandatory bail ruling, you would know that there is a problem in this country, in the judiciary, because the judge says, rather than making numerous bail applications, I advise you to ask for a speedy trial. But
what do you say the judiciary is under state capture?
Well, without any doubt, the judiciary is now under state capture. And the same holds for our brothers in Masaka, Eddie Mutwe and the others, who have been trying to get bail, and so many other political prisoners. So that trend is very worrying, especially for those who are being arrested today. Going by what Dr. Besigye is going through, going by what the Eddie Mutwes are going through, you really worry for any one of us who will be arrested, especially during this period. And this practice of having acting judges, should also worry us, especially as we move into the elections, because we know from the elections we are going to have so many election petitions, because we know what they are planning. They are going to rig the election blatantly and ask you to go to court. Petition. And then you're going to meet these acting judges whose deployments were clearly to deal with election petitions.
Let's come back to that, Honorable. It's time for us to take a break. We'll return and continue with this discussion of how current political factors are influencing the 2026 polls curve. That's after the break.
3 times big.
Welcome back from the break, and glad that you're still with us here on KFM VPN. We are asking how are current political factors influencing the 2026 polls curve. My name is Judith Atim, I'm your host, and my guests in the studio are Ms. Sarah Adong, President of the DP Women's League. She's also the woman MP aspirant for Zombo District. I also have with me Honorable Michael Kabaziguruka, Chairperson, the People's Front for Freedom, Party's Electoral Commission Chairperson, is also an aspiring MP for Nakawa East constituency. Winfred Nakandi also just joined us a short while ago, member of the National Unity Platform Party, and until a few days ago she was aspiring for the Kampala woman MP seat. Winfred, I think I now move the microphone to you. We are still looking at the strategies that parties and individuals in parties are employing to galvanize support as we count down to 2026. But I would also like to just have your views, because there is, from the DP camp, from the PFF camp, there is this fear and concern that the context and the landscape is quite nasty. It is messy, it's chaotic, and certainly comes with a lot of threats and challenges. I'd like to know whether you share the same viewpoint or if your perspective differs.
Oh, yes, Judith, thank you so much. I definitely agree with my colleagues here. What we have seen in the by-elections between 2021 and now is nastier than what we've seen in general elections before. So there is deliberate effort. There is you can see clear intention from the military, from government altogether to instill fear amongst the electorate, to send a very strong message that you people who want power cannot simply take power, but also to show clearly that they are not anywhere close to or about to offer clear democracy to this country. The most recent by-election was Kawempe North, where we saw military security agencies in all forms and shapes, where we saw massive vote rigging. It is only fortunate that we were able to secure a win, but it was massive voter bribery, voter intimidation, and clear violence unleashed on the citizenry. It is therefore absurd and definitely worries us, not because we are very intimidated or scared, but we worry for the democracy of the country, we worry for the future of the country, we worry for the future generations, because, we are living in this country and we must live in peace, and we must pass through as politicians or as leaders and set and leave a very good stage, leave a very safe space and stage for the generations that are coming. But this is not happening. Unfortunately, almost all significant agencies of government, agencies that are significant in this electoral process, like the judiciary, like security, you could say without fear of contradiction that they are under the control of the state. The commander-in-chief chooses what result he wants or how he wants the people to be treated, the people with dissenting views to be treated. Just yesterday you saw NRM, the very big procession, take they say millions of signatures to the Electoral Commission. I wonder if such a procession would be allowed in the city if we were taking signatures for the NUP party presidential candidate. PFF, I don't know when they are, I don't know who their presidential candidate is, but if that would be allowed, or if that would be allowed from DP or any other opposition political party. So it is clear, you see, when you are running a country that you want to claim has democracy, you must have at least a semblance of democracy. If you cannot do it, you must be at least seen to be doing it. So the inequity and the injustices against opposition political parties is glaring. They do not hide in any way. I think they just are sending a message that we are here and we're not going anywhere. And I just want to tell fellow agents of change that the times we're going for are definitely difficult times that we must brace for. What is happening is not desirable, is extremely unfortunate, but this is the system that we are fighting, and we definitely have to put an end to it.
Okay, thank you. Sarah, let me come to you. I know this round of questions, the spotlight has been outside your own parties. The focus has been on the state and the ruling party, the NRM. But I also want us to do a bit of introspection about your respective parties, because many times we also see that your parties are not as organized or as clean either. A few months ago, you had the DP Delegates Conference, and we also see the kind of fractures that this caused within your party soon after. Some of your members were pushed out or expelled, and others just felt they could no longer associate or identify with the Democratic Party. In your own assessment, what does this mean for the strength and cohesion and unity of the Democratic Party as you head to the polls?
Thank you so much, Tim. First of all, I want to also congratulate my colleagues who went through successfully at the Delegates Conference that took place in Mbarara. But I also want to put this very clear. No one was pushed out of the Democratic Party. No one completely.
But that's what we hear from some of your members.
Oh, yes,
and neither here nor there. And someone will tell you, like, I was actually just pushed out of the party. I still wanted to be a member, but I found myself, the environment was no longer sustainable for me to belong.
Yes, you see.
We've had this.
You see, politics, or belonging to a political party, there's always free entry and free exit. No one is forced or coerced to join a political party. You join out of your will and you exit out of your will. And as Democratic Party, we have always exhibited the true spirit of dialogue. But, I mean, if somebody wants to move, you are not going to force someone from moving. For instance, if you say that we have pushed away members, I want to tell you today that of all our parliamentary, the MPs we had in Parliament, no one, with the exception of Honorable... my honorable from Buyikwe South, Michael, was decided to move on, and it is his right. I respect him and I wish him well where he's gone. After all, it's all about serving Uganda. I mean, if he felt the space wasn't now okay for him, you know, you reach a point in time where you feel, okay, now maybe I've reached a point of satiety, and if traffic jam is still there, maybe perhaps you say, okay, fine, let me move on. But when we went into the delegates conference, this all came about one of the members who wanted to run for presidency, and I think that is all about Honorable Sebamala Richard. Legally, he was not yet, his illegality to run for presidency was a little bit questionable, and that's what happened at the delegates conference, you know. But I want to report to you today that Honorable has picked his nomination form to run back for Bukoto Central MP on a Democratic Party ticket. You understand? Because we were able to talk. We said, look, there is a party called DP beyond us. You might not like us, but Maui is here for 5 years, and you never know. Tomorrow it might be you, you know. So for us, no one has been pushed out completely. And two, at least me, I have to credit Democratic Party, because there are political parties that didn't even have a delegates conference. They had a meeting in the name of a delegates conference. But we had a delegates conference, regardless of what the public perceived. You know, we had a delegates conference which took almost something like four days in Mbarara. And the process went on until we got out all the heads of departments and the regional representatives. There is no region that was not elected. You understand? For me, that is the more key point. And nobody was blocked out. All delegates were there. Media houses were allowed to do everything. But there is a political party that had a delegates conference where journalists woke up in the morning and they were only told that we have a delegates conference sitting. My sister, the political party she comes from, she knows very well. I mean, only to report that leaders were elected. How? I come from Zumbo district. I did not hear a delegate from Zumbo. At least for PFF, the new party, ANT, they had their delegates conference. We had one of their members who traveled to Kampala, I mean, for the delegates conference. So I think for me, the bottom line is that people are putting Democratic Party in the spotlight because they were forgetting that there was yet elections coming ahead. So for us, we have moved on. As I say right now, we have already scrutinized most of our parliamentary candidates, you know, and the local council elections have gone, the nominations are going on. Today we have the chairpersons LC3s and their councillors also still nominating. So clearly we have moved on.
But Sarah, do you think the public perception of the party right now puts you in a stronger position than you've ever been in before?
I can assure you that in Uganda today, whether the public has a positive perception about you or negative perception about you, it is not business as usual as it was in the last 20 years. So there's no political party which is having a good perception. You go to the NRM, people are crying. You go to our leading opposition political party, people are crying. Our brothers and sisters in PFF and DF, for them, they're still new. At least you can't. FDC, same thing. So I don't think Democratic Party is any different from these other political parties. So it is a trend in Uganda. And for me, it goes back to the regime. The regime does not want to see stability in any political party. In Uganda, there must be, if you study the history, the rule of divide and rule method it's what is happening in Uganda. Cause confusion in that political party, and then for you as the other side, you're busy creating districts and the rest for yourself to sustain yourself in power.
Thank you. Honorable Kabaziguruka. Still, I want you to introspect the events that are happening in PFF and just how fair they are and how you think public perception, how to actually win the confidence of the public in PFF, to think of PFF as that credible or viable alternative for them. What are your processes? What is happening internally within the party right now?
Well, thank you so much. Well, as we know, PFF is a new party. We got our certificate on the 5th of June this year. But be it as it may, the players are actually not new in the politics of this country.
Old wine in new wineskin.
Not necessarily, but we are old and steady hands, so we know how to maneuver. Now, if you look at our constitution, ideally our processes would have been done by the party structures in terms of selecting candidates. But we did not have the time to do party structures across the country. So we had to take a decision. One, we had to call what we call the Council of the Founder Members to get guidance on how to proceed, given that we had very limited time. We called a convention of all the founder members. In registering the party, we had to collect 100 signatures from at least 2/3 of the districts of Uganda, which I think are about 146. So we called a very big meeting that was attended by close to 3,000 people, which gave us direction. One, on getting interim leadership for the party, which interim leadership included the Council of Eminent Persons. You see, PFF, unlike the other parties, creates a 3-tier leadership structure. We have a cabinet which is headed by the party chairman, who is the Lord Mayor of Kampala, Salongerias Lukwago. We have the National Assembly, which is headed by the Speaker, who is the Honorable Salam Musumba. Then we have the Council of Eminent Persons, which is headed by Dr. Chiza Besige as the party leader. Now, these three structures are meant to complement but also check each other. The Assembly checks on the activities of the Cabinet, the Assembly being our Parliament, then the Cabinet being the Executive. Then you have the Council of Eminent Persons, which comes in to adjudicate should there be a conflict between these two bodies. Now, the Council of Eminent Persons has specific tasks like vetting and also creation of the party electoral commission. So once the council was put in place, the Council of Eminent Persons, the council swiftly appointed the party electoral commission, which I chair. And of course I had to issue guidelines on how we would conduct our internal party processes. And given the limitation I told you about the time frame, we decided to use vetting as a method of deciding who the party flag bearers would be. And We have been at it. We have vetted the LC5s, the city mayors, the LC5 councillors for the cities, and also districts. We have vetted LC3 councillors in cities and municipalities, the LC4s, the councillors, and the city mayors, the municipality mayors, and so forth. And our processes are really very open and transparent. What we did as a party was to put together vetting panels. And these panels are composed of seasoned politicians, but also members from the civil society and the academia who have no bias. We would bring in professionals to do the vetting so that whatever the outcomes are, they are fair to all party members. And to date, I have only handled about 6 petitions across the country. And that is a testament as to how fair our processes have been. I have seen
the petitions were contesting the internal vetting processes?
Of course. You see, in any competition, there's always somebody who will emerge the first, and the others take different positions. So there is always that dissatisfaction. You can't have everybody agreeing to that. That is not possible. So there are people who are dissatisfied with the decisions that the panels have taken for various reasons. You see, as a new party, we welcome everyone. We made it clear that we were open to, say, members who had been disenfranchised by the processes in the NRM, in NUP, in DP, and other. And we also have those members who
so
came
you
in.
become a refugee camp.
They're those members. You see, and they're those members who believe that by right, being that they were in FDC and had transitioned to PFF, well, to be the automatic flag bearers. And we made it clear, we said, we look at everyone as a new member. We are having a clean slate. Whatever your contributions were previously, we appreciate. But we believe that these people also have a stake in this country, and that it is their right. We believe, at PFF, we believe that everybody, every one of us, has a role to play in fighting for the rights of the people of Uganda, for fighting for freedom. We believe that we have our brothers and sisters hitherto who were part of the NRM, who probably thought that they were closer to, who eventually realized that they are part of the oppressed. So we have to bring them in, counsel them, and, give them hope that we can redeem ourselves, all of us.
But Honorable, you also you're the chairperson of the Electoral Commission of PFF, but you're also an aspiring candidate. How do you reconcile this conflict of interest? Well,
as I said, we are structured. The Electoral Commission is under the Council of Eminent Persons. Now, in the event that someone comes up to challenge me, say for the flag in Nakawa East, then that matter would be resolved by the Council of Eminent Persons, which is the highest appellate body.
But wouldn't it be better to have a neutral person holding a position as sensitive as the Electoral Commission chairperson, someone who does not have any interest in carrying the party flag?
In an ideal situation, that would the most suitable person to do that, and the reason being that even in FDC, where we came from, I was a member of the Electoral Commission from 2009.
So did you offer yourself for that position, or the party in its wisdom thought you would be the best and the most suited person for that role?
I was nominated and appointed. Of course, I couldn't refuse, because I thought my experience since 2009 as part of the FDC Electoral Commission and my knowledge of the electoral processes would be very helpful to this young and nascent party.
All right.
So I couldn't refuse, though I knew it would affect my own campaign effort, because as others are looking for votes. I am busy at the party headquarters determining who the candidates are. For the last 1 month, from 7 a.m. to midnight, 1 a.m., I am seated at Katonga, handling these processes across the country. You get calls from Zombo, you get calls from Chisoro and every other part of the country that you have to deal with. So from morning to evening, I am held up at Katonga, which is also affecting my efforts in the constituency. But nevertheless, somebody had to do it.
Thank you. Let me come to Winfred. So I'd also like to hear your story. How are you handling the situation, or what's your next plan after your decision not to contest for the Kampala Woman MP seat?
Thank you, Judith. If you could allow me, can I please comment about my fellow panelists' submissions? Ms. Adong, the women leader of DP, talked about the delegates conference. It is true that that delegates conference also was marred with violence. We saw, at least we watched some clips of violence. Because it is politics, maybe you can never take violence away from politics, but it was there. My prayer is for parties to stop being dismissive and escapist about things that are really happening in their parties. For party leaders, you see, as party leaders, it is imperative to correct the errors, the mistakes, the events that are making your processes seem quite undemocratic. Okay, at least for them there was an election. How the election was conducted could be a story for another day. I was not there, so I don't know exactly what happened, but I saw people running with boxes from one tent to another hotel or something like that. Police, and so I saw delegates barred from entering. Well, she explained that one of the contenders was not eligible for nomination. But I'm glad that there has been a bit of reconciliation, that even the person who in the public looked to be the most oppressed out of that process has gone back to the party and sought the party flag, and successfully maybe gotten it, I don't know, but sought the party flag to stand again in his constituency. Now, I have heard the Honorable Kawas Guruka speaking about the vetting. Now, vetting, okay, I'll give it up to PFF because it's a new party. It's been here for only a few months, really. So maybe there has not been time to have more credible
and robust
structures and processes. Vetting, that kind of vetting is not a process that I really believe in now. That kind of vetting of, we have a council of elders, we have members from civil society, we have it altogether comes to a few individuals who in many cases may have attachments or know people who are standing. You see, regardless, even if the leader of your council of elders is Dr. Besige, you can never tell someone that the process of electing you as the flag bearer of your constituency or any other person was democratic, unless there is, even if it's an electoral college, you see. Because you see, it's not usual, it's not normal. Okay, it's not easy for opposition political parties to hold primaries the way NRM does. We don't have the resources or even the liberty to hold them. But I have seen opposition political parties have electoral colleges from village, from parish level. I mean, there must be some people who hold positions that they have held, like in their capacity as party leaders at parish level or something, and then the 9 or the 10 or 15, whatever your structures are, gather and vote a flag bearer somehow. Those councils of elders, I do not believe in, because that system really breeds favoritism, it breeds influence peddling, and it definitely breeds ring fencing of positions.
Which are pretty much some of the issues that your own party is also being accused of. I don't know how democratic you think the vetting process of the NUP is.
like you informed listeners, I would also like to confirm that the day before yesterday, I withdrew from the race for the party flag
for Kampala
NUP,
Woman MP.
for the Kampala District Woman MP, because of that vetting process. You see, vetting for parliamentary candidates has not yet been done. It's starting Monday. So people asking me, why didn't you wait for your own? And I'm telling them this is not about me. I have seen what has happened to LC3 councillors, LC5 councillors.
Could you share just very briefly
I can share
what you
a
observed?
few examples. I know candidates, for example, at the level of LC5 councillor. Candidates, people who are standing for the same position. But the person that they were standing against is a senior member of the party, part of the election management committee, and they also knew, maybe, okay, they thought perhaps that what the party said of would have vetting, 40% will come from this, 60% from the ground, was maybe could be true. So they went in and stood. And we saw clearly a young man who posed very, very serious competition to this senior member of the party. But in no time, that young man was now, I should say, awarded an LC3 councillor flag.
Yet he would have been stronger as an LC5.
That he never asked for. But because I know this for sure, that the two were sat down and, I mean, the conversation was, you see, this one is more senior to you.
They had to make a compromise.
You know, he has done a lot for the party, and you see, if he goes to council, he can become this and this. So you're still young, please go to this level. Now, that system is also okay if that is the system that you use, and you've informed the public that this is the system that we shall use. If you say we shall select, they call it selecting fighters. I mean, the party assigns fighters. That system is okay if it's what we have signed up for. But you do not invite people and tell them, I mean, all of you bring your papers and we shall look through them and we shall come to the ground and ask who is stronger, only to sit two people down and then give one person the other position. Now that poses two serious challenges. Number one, what happens to the other people on the same position of LC5 who seemingly perhaps were not shaking the big man? They stand no chance. Many of them are calling me. You see, for me, I'm planning to run independent. You see, no one is considering us. You see, no one even calling us for mediation. Those things. And then, what happens to the other people at LC3 level, where you are sending this one that you don't want to compete at LC5 to beat the big man?
So do you see this fragmenting the party even further and posing maybe more challenges for your party?
What I know for sure is that it has been challenging for people that are lost unfairly. I can tell you for sure, you know, people do not have the courage to say these things maybe, but there has been clear lack of transparency, and I mean, people have lost flags unexplainably to people that they do not know in the area. I mean, the party could say, or party leaders or specific members of the party, send individuals who maybe work at the party headquarters or, you know, or have responsibilities in the party to go and stand in constituencies as fresh residents. Someone has spent a month there, or less than a month, or 2 months. They have put up posters, and in no time they are the flag bearer. But this area has people that have been campaigning for 4 years, for 3 years.
And they're well known to the community.
Exactly. And they've been disregarded completely to create space for this person. So I do not really find that fair. And it is that particular system that I'm faulting and finding flawed.
Okay.
I really think it's flawed, and I really want to be part of it.
Well, thank you very much. It's time for us to take a break, and then we will get back and continue with the discussion on the current political factors influencing the 2026 polls curve. This is KFM VPN.
KFM. The Mighty Breakfast. You are getting a fabulous super jam.
We were talking about those stereotypes, and it just occurred to me that I've actually never dated a Muganda. So I don't know. Maybe I should date a Muganda.
Well, there's a Musoga here.
Wondering how.
Good morning, sir.
On to Mighty Breakfast.
They will not allow us to gather.
For me,
You see, when you do something well, God blesses you. Isn't that what
117 people.
So should I get a
And you're the leading opposition.
In a country that has 146 districts.
And you're the leading opposition party.
To the most fabulous cheer in the morning.
117 members.
On to Mighty Breakfast.
In a country that has 146.
Only on 933 KFM.
And you relax strategy.
Thank you for the meal. Can I have more chapati and
You see, I told one of the members.
anything like this before?
Yeah, of course. They do like
Chapati and posho today.
their game.
I noticed that even the posho tasted great. Where did you buy it from?
Have you not heard about the new wheat and maize flour?
I told one of the members, I said, you know, that
Spring
wheat
flour
died a
comes
long
in
time
both
ago.
wheat and
You
maize.
guys are now swimming
Spring
with the
flour
tide.
is very nutritious, tasty and healthy because it's fortified with 9 vitamins and minerals. Spring flour stretches easily and uses less oil, so you end up baking more in less
new
time.
party.
Find Spring flour in all supermarkets and shops countrywide. Spring flour is manufactured by Mandela Millers at Busega Roundabout, Masaka Road, a product of Mandela Group.
Paying school fees has never been easier. Just tap, pay, done with Postbank. Use the Post app, online banking, Wendy, or visit any of our branches to settle school fees in seconds. In Uganda or abroad, our digital channels and international remittance options enable you to pay directly, instantly, and securely. Download the Post app or Wendy, register for online banking, or walk into any branch to get started today. Post Bank, soon to be Pearl Bank, is regulated by the Bank of Uganda. Customer deposits of up to Ugandan shillings 10 million are protected
the whole
by the
country.
Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda.
A new era of banking has officially begun. Salam Bank is the first and only Islamic bank in Uganda.
They have a say. They must have a say in the affairs of their party.
Offer a wide range of financial services.
Yeah, they scapegoat. They also scapegoat a lot. That's the problem.
A student or a family looking to save, Salam Bank is here to serve you.
Showed up.
Remember, Islamic banking is not only for
A party of
Muslims,
how many months?
for everyone
July
who wants
to-
to bank differently and experience fairness, transparency, and financial growth. You can visit Salam Bank at any of their branches or call 0312 300 699.
Even if a virtual one, they could have decided to have a virtual one since they are tech savvy and they appeal to the young people who are also tech savvy. Say we're doing it online. Do it, even if it's 1 hour.
Yes. And no one is going to, and no one is ready.
They are just reactionary. It's a reactionary. Yeah, it is.
The Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda up to 10 million. Terms
And you see,
what annoyed me most
In a world full of
by
noise,
then I
truth gets lost. Ugandans deserve more than headlines. They need
someone
facts,
from Daily Moment, I
context,
think.
credibility.
For them, they have
Nation Media Group, we don't follow hype.
yes, I
We follow the truth. 2026 is coming. The stakes are high.
And yet when they are getting tear gas, they want the press.
Asking harder questions so you can decide better. While others chase clicks, we chase facts. While others turn up the volume, we turn up the truth. This election season, we speak up, we speak out. We are Nation Media Group, Uganda's bold voice.
Has been a missed
Truth
opportunity.
you can trust.
They
Hashtag
did not
elections
go with a clear
2026.
strategy.
Hashtag
How do
truth
we
you can
position
trust.
ourselves as the next generation of policymakers?
Be your own doctor.
To take over
At
the
Tamex
Segonas, the
Nutrition
Sebudus.
Center, we
For me, that's a
advise
missed
you
opportunity
on
with
the
their
right
never,
foods to
ever going
eat,
to recover.
exercise profile to adopt, and proper lifestyle strategies to adopt, all compatible to your blood group and genotype. This will help you treat and prevent diseases. Contact us on 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. And
Welcome back from the break. It's 17 minutes past 10 o'clock. This is KFM VPN. And in the studio, I have Ms. Sarah Dong, President, DP Women's League. She's also the woman MP aspirant for Zombo District. Honorable Michael Kabaziguruka, Chairperson of the PFF Electoral Commission, is also the aspiring MP for Nakawa East, and Winfred Nakandi, member of the National Unity Platform and former aspirant for the Kampala District Woman MP seat. We're, of course, talking about how current political factors are influencing the 2026 polls curve. So now, very quickly, of course, we've done the introspection of what is going on within your respective parties. But again, do you think the opposition as it is, despite the many challenges that we know it faces, provides a credible alternative for Ugandans? Starting with you,
I beg your pardon again?
Does the opposition provide a credible alternative for Ugandans?
The opposition political parties have always provided a credible alternative to Ugandans. However, the suppression has been too much, because even if you have the best alternative, but then when the spaces are not quite very, very fair enough, it's like you're going for a football match. You have a better team that should have won a game, but then you have a referee who is very biased. They have the yellow cards with them, the red cards with them, they have everything against them, and offside is counted as a goal. So how do you end up providing the best match? And then you find cases where the best team has lost and the worst team has won. So this is a case we have in Uganda right now. But also, I think from our internal democracies, there is a lot that we need to do. Checks and balances in our houses as political parties, especially us in opposition, political parties not in government. My sister Nakandi here, if she clearly sits and tells you some of these unfair processes in political parties, more so NUP where she belongs. I don't know whether she's still a member of NUP though. I mean, you really need to understand the style of a dance of a given monkey before you join the dance. So for me, it's quite very complex. And this is where now so many Ugandans are questioning us. And that's why you raise that question, that are we there to provide the best alternative? The best alternative can first of all happen only if we clean our houses. And as political parties, we need to be honest. Whereas I think there are individuals who are more of their glittering appearances in Uganda other than the voices of Ugandans and the rights of Ugandans. There's so many bad policies have passed in the Parliament of Uganda, even at the local council level, perhaps because maybe as political parties in opposition, we haven't yet thought so much about what we want about our country. Is it the country first? Is it the individuals first? Is it the political party first? I think we need to do a needs assessment there and then. But we offer the best alternative. For instance, as the Democratic Party, we said, yes, we have done everything possible. We've done the walk to work. We've done everything. But we are saying, Uganda, look, we have a very big problem that we are seated on a time bomb. All this you're seeing, the militarization of politics, commercialization, the hijacking of the courts, the judiciary not being independent, the Electoral Commission seeming not to be very independent. They seem to be independent on paper, but in the field itself, they are not independent enough. I want to give a reference to a returning officer in Ipalisa. One of our candidates, councillors, went to nominate, and the candidate was frustrated. Do you know what the returning officer said? Actually, we had to petition Electoral Commission, and I thank our Secretary General, Dr. Siranda Gerard Blacks, who were able to win the case until the lady was nominated. And a returning officer comes out and says, but there are so many other seats you can run for.
Sure.
Oh, yes. Siranda showed me that video. I'm like, what the hell is wrong? This is a returning officer of an Electoral Commission in the Palisa district. There has been a mess, and you're blaming a candidate, and you're saying, but there are other seats you can run for. Now, honestly speaking, even if you have the best alternative you want to offer, but with all these factors surrounding the oppression, how do you offer? The field is not leveled. Go to the cases where you want to offer the best alternative. Honorable Michael Kabazirukuka has been in Parliament before us who are yearning to, aspiring to go there. The NRM caucus today has taken over the roles of Parliament. You understand? Before everything possible, tangible, and very, very very positive in nature, is discussed. Policies are discussed by Parliament. The NRM caucus takes center stage. And because they have the numbers in Parliament, now you find that even when you have the best alternatives to offer, you are scrapped off completely, you're rubbished off. And the unfortunate bit is that even our leading opposition in Parliament, for me, the last 5 years, I think they gave up. It's not that they've worked, but they just reached a point and said, you know what? We have given up. We have surrendered. If you look at it critically, if you analyze critically. So what do we do? In the cases, are we going to the stage of becoming hopeless as Ugandans? Are we looking at how service delivery is very, very vague and very shallow in our districts? I come from one of the most remote districts in Uganda, Zumbo, yet very rich in nature. Agriculture, it's at its peak. But look at the roads, look at the exploitation of farmers, and all these policies. And you find that you have a member of parliament who is even a commissioner, but some of these things are not, policies are not brought on the floor of parliament because the NRA members have no voice. It is the nay say nay, you know. So at the end of the day, we are being suppressed, so you can't have a better alternative policies to offer because of the patronage, the politics of patronage in the country. However, we need to forge a way forward. We need to say no. Maybe take it back to Ugandans and say no. Maybe Ugandans should rise up and say, you know, we need a referendum on some of these things, because as the way it looks, should we still have majority of MPs in the parliament who are NRM, I can assure you we are going to cry for the next 5 years again. So the situation is quite alarming. The only solution is to reduce on the numbers of the NRM MPs in the parliament, the councillors, and then perhaps maybe your alternative voices can be heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are you providing a credible alternative for Ugandans as the opposition, or as PFF specifically?
Well, that is not in any doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But that shouldn't be the issue today. The issue is, do you even have space to provide these alternatives? Whatever policies you have, if coming on radio here is a privilege, going out there in the countryside to talk to the people is a preserve of the NRM. Does it matter whether you have better alternatives? What we as the opposition should be fighting for is space to be able to talk to our people. I come from the FDC. I was a member of the FDC till about 5 months ago. And we had very good policies. We advanced agendas. We had manifestos in the last election since 2006, which were clearly very good. But we must accept the fact that we now are captured as a state by Mr. Museveni and his family. So what we should be fighting for is to reclaim our rights, our voices, not putting forward agendas, police on agriculture, police on education. That is not what we need at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We need to coalesce and, mobilize the people of Uganda to assert themselves, to free their voice. Mr. Museveni has been very clear. Popular, tekanzija mubukulembeze. Recently, when we had a by-election in Kayunga, he said the NRM will always have the last say on everything. We went to Kawempe for the by-election. Against all the violence, all the machinations, Honorable Nalukola was declared MP. Is he in Parliament?
Mm.
So, should we be talking about policies when all this is happening? We should be discussing how best we can reclaim this country from the clutches of dictatorship. Mr. Museveni and his son are clearly in charge of every aspect of this country. Cabinet today reports to Muhoozi or to General Saleh in northern Uganda. The other day you saw when they were trying to amend the UPDF Act, you saw how Parliament was surrounded by mambas, by all sorts of guns. Does it still matter whether we have credible policies or not? Do we have the space to even, present these policies? It is true our brothers in the leading opposition seem to have given up, but what are their options against the yellow tide? What are our options? Parliament as an institution is dead.
Yeah.
That is a fact. Because this is the place where we think people's views should be brought to the fore. But when we hear that MPs are taken to Sijui State House, which is also wrong anyway, to discuss parliamentary business, money exchanges hands, and they simply come in as voting machines, we shouldn't be talking about policies.
Honourable, do you think the coming elections will not be shaped by the critical issues that citizens want? Or do you think the issues will actually shape the elections?
The elections will be determined by who is in charge of, 1, the Electoral Commission, 2, the military, 3, the military and other security agencies, 3, Bank of Uganda, 4, who is in charge of the judiciary, and finally by who is in charge of the media. Those are the issues that will determine the next election. Nothing else.
Thank you.
Because you can't go to Byabakama here and get justice. Justice Byabakama and his outfit are simply powerless to do anything about it. The other day, we put to them a question and said, Justice Byabakama, under Article 63 of the Constitution, in particular 63.5, the Commission is supposed to demarcate constituencies 1 year after the census results. We are going to an election. We had a census recently, however shabbily it was managed. Have you, as a commission, done what you are supposed to do? Have we reviewed the constituencies? Because we see NRM, through that caucus of theirs, creating counties. Because ideally or legally it is the mandate of the EC to demarcate constituencies. But the law also says that each county must have at least a constituency. So we see machinations where the NRM caucus creates counties, and by doing that they create constituencies. You saw the caucus yesterday or the day before creating districts. Now all these are electoral areas that are being created. But the EC is powerless to do anything about it. So they are not capable of organizing a free and fair election. That cannot happen. My sister here has just highlighted areas where the returning officers are advising candidates on which positions to vie for. You present yourself and say, I want to be LC5 councillor. The returning officer says, no. Because you go and become LC3.
Because I've messed up with the process.
So Honourable and Sarah, so in light of all these issues, these pertinent issues that you raise, how do you, as the opposition, intend to actually come together and provide that formidable front to counter all these hurdles that have been placed or presented before you?
Well, for us in the PFF, we believe that these challenges will be addressed by the people of Uganda. we will need, and we have to, as a matter of urgency, mobilize the people of Uganda to rise up and take charge of the affairs of this country. You know, our constitution, however, whatever it is, and
belongs to the people.
Well, I will. In this case,
is being careful not to be heard as inciting violence. I understand him.
In this case, I will hinge my argument on Article 3, where we all have a right and a duty to protect this constitution. So we need to mobilize the people of Uganda to exercise or to take responsibility as commanded by Article 3 of our constitution to save the constitution, to save this country from Mr. Museveni and his cabal.
Winfred, before I hear you out on what you think about whether or not the opposition provides a credible alternative, I still want us to go back to your situation. Did you voice your grievances with the party? Have they made any effort to reach out to you and hear you out on the grievances that you're actually issuing out?
No. They've not made. I've not received a call from any party leader or message in that regard. When I was withdrawing, I wrote a letter to the Election Management Committee, letter of withdrawal. Unfortunately, no one wanted to officially receive it. Yeah, but I played my part.
So what do you mean no one wanted to officially receive it? So then who received it?
I mean, you have to submit a letter and then someone
receives and stamps.
Honorable Nakandi is like a woman who is in a forced marriage.
But eventually I assume someone received the letter.
Well, I hope so. But somehow, because maybe it's not something that had been seen before or someone done before, so everyone wanted to consult from the other. And I know how some of these things work. Before you come to tell the people that you've withdrawn, somehow some propaganda will have run already after, if your letter stays long and like they've not received it officially, but they know that you've withdrawn. Before you tell the people yourself, somehow there'll be some propaganda or blackmail. So I had to come and tell people that I've withdrawn. But this is, you see, people have petitioned. Yeah? Our president set up a committee to listen to grievances and petitions. Other than these electoral petitions that resulted into a change of some flag bearers, the other petitions, really, many of them have not been actually considered in any way. The other, but in case someone wrote and say, you see, you've been asked for money, you see, this is happening. We just have a problem. And this problem is not only an NUP problem. It's a problem of political parties. There is a lot of dismissiveness inside political parties and escapism. Like if someone raises an issue, the first thing you'll see on social media is being state-funded, you know? When you raise an issue inside your political party, this one is, right now they are saying I am working on state funds, I am sponsored by the Speaker of Parliament, and so many such privileges. And I'm wondering, who has my money? If the state has given me money, you people have not delivered it.
Right now?
You people call the Speaker, ask how it is my money, I want it. Anyway, now, that, you see, Judith, systems, you see, we are fighting systems that are not working, systems that we know have guns and have basements and have all kind of military equipment. I mean, systems that we know do not have the goodwill of democracy in Uganda. But we stand up and fight them. It means that we do not want systems that do not work. So you can be sure that if we can fight systems that have guns, then we can fight those that don't work, even if they are perpetrated by our own people. And I'm encouraging anyone in every political party. You see, we're just being hypocritical. We have seen NRM members who are aggrieved and come and speak out, and we praise them, don't we? There are these, Honorable Sechikubo, Honorable Tinkasimire. I mean, we always like, you see, this one is NRM, but it's different. They can air out their problems even inside NRM, not so. So, when you say Ugandans are looking up to us for alternatives, Ugandans that support the opposition, the Ugandans that have supported Dr. Besigye for years, the Ugandans that are supporting Honorable Kyagulanyi, do not support him simply because he's a celebrity or he's a musician. Or they are supporting, the people who support opposition are supporting opposition because they are tired of the other system. You get? They are supporting opposition because they are tired of corruption, because they are tired of a small group of people clinging on to power and holding on to, a small group of people accumulating all the power in the country around them and clinging on to it like their life depends on it. Now, if these Ugandans are tired of those things there, it is not that they don't want those things when NRM is perpetrating them, and they will
be okay with it.
They will be okay if it is our thing. Yeah. No, they don't want them. They don't want them. Let me tell you, being in opposition is difficult. It is painful. It is difficult. It's very expensive. It costs a lot. You lose friends. You lose property. You lose money. You lose things. So no one would just happily say, you see me, I want to identify with opposition. It's not fashionable. It's not like something that people get so much out of. But we are opposition because we do not want these things that do not work. That's why we come out here and speak about them every day, and we want to change them.
Yeah, but do you still see yourself with NUP, or do you think are you thinking of moving elsewhere?
I'm a member of the National Unity Platform.
And that's not going to change.
And I believe this party is supposed to bring change to Ugandans. That's why now, you see, if we have a duty to change, if we have a duty to grow, to develop our country, political parties are some of those formidable legal entities that are looked at as, this entity we can wake up one day when it's in charge of government. Therefore, it is my duty to pinpoint issues where they are, and our party corrects them. Isn't it? So because when, like I was telling you, Ugandans trust us and support us not because it's fashionable, but because they are tired of the other things. Then with the alternatives that we present and offer must not have any bit of hypocrisy and mediocrity. So people like me, Nakandi, who stands for democracy and all democratic principles and values, and for truth and justice and the rule of law, cannot see things that are not oriented in that direction and keep quiet. Whether they are perpetrated by my mother or my brother or my sister. And our President, Honorable Kyagulanyi, reminds us, regardless of who is doing these things, if they are wrong, they are wrong.
But would you still subscribe to a party that goes against the very values that you stand for?
Now, the party set up what we call the Election Management Committee. It is the workings of this committee that I do not now believe in, like partly. You do not just run away from a party because something. This has not gone well. Like I thought, you see, in every situation there are beneficiaries. Even when the country is at war, there are beneficiaries. People will come and loot shops. When someone comes and breaks into a shop, they steal all the phones. At least they are benefiting from war, not so. So even in this situation, they are beneficiaries. The people there are many people that have gotten party flags legitimately, really. But those that have gotten them out of favoritism and ring fencing of positions are beneficiaries. Maybe I could have gotten it that way.
But have you also heard of instances where people, for instance, bought or paid for the party flag? Like we see the commentaries in social media.
I've heard about those instances. I have not experienced any such thing. I cannot dismiss anyone's truth. If someone comes out and says, I bought a flag or I was asked for money, I cannot dismiss because it's their truth. If they say it and they stand on it, maybe it could be true, but I cannot say that it happened to me or that I paid any money or that anyone asked me for any money.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but do you still believe that your party can actually provide that credible alternative and alternative leadership for Ugandans, despite all these deficits that you actually highlight?
Yes, that's why as a party member, that's why you see I did not just come and say, you see, I'm running away from NUP, I'm going to another party. No, as a party member who knows, who trusts, who entered the party that I trust that will bring credible leadership to the country, I had to point out those very, very significant shortcomings, and we correct them and move forward.
Okay. So the race for the Kampala woman MP position within your party is a two-horse race. You have Shamima Lende versus Zahara. If you were to throw your weight behind one of the two, who would it be?
It's not just the two of them. There could be more. We could go about 5.
But those are the contenders, at least in the public perception. Those are the two, the front runners for this race on the NUP ticket. Who would be your candidate?
I will not say that on air. Because that's why actually even a ballot is a secret ballot. I will, because I was in the same race. I will let the ladies tussle it out, and I hope that the party gives us the most credible candidate.
Thank you.
I just wanted to keep this a little bit. You see, according to the laws of Uganda, the moment you deflect from a political party and you become an independent candidate, you cease to be a member of the party. He's a lawyer here. He can correct me. So I don't know whether Nakandi wants to be the same story of the NRM, where I hear the independent NRM leaning. She has to choose. She either says, I am running.
Sarah, who says I'm running independent? Where
she hasn't mentioned it. Yeah, she hasn't mentioned that.
You've said you've withdrawn from the electoral processes.
So which part of that don't you understand?
She has withdrawn from contesting for the flag under the party ticket.
I submitted my expression of interest to run for the party flag. Now I see the system is flawed and I will not participate in it, whether or not I could have benefited from it, because it's not even moral to participate, to benefit out of an injustice. So I have withdrawn my interest in the party flag for the position of woman MP of Kampala district. What more did I say, sir?
Okay, but there's something hidden that you're not telling Ugandans, because have you withdrawn your interest from running as a woman MP of Kampala district? That's what people want to know.
I have withdrawn my interest to run for the flag of the National Unity Platform.
But the interest to stand for the position remains.
That is what I
So you are saying something very clearly without actually saying it.
Yes.
And I'm not going to push you any further.
Okay, no, let me say this. I withdrawn my interest to run for the party flag. I have not communicated anything further. In case I am to communicate anything further, I will inform the country just like I informed them.
We shall
right on as he said, I'll tell you when I'll tell you.
Okay. Honorable Kabaziguruka, Nakandi has been really candid about the things that have happened in her party. I want to also hear a candid experience from where you sit. Have you had these kinds of deep-seated grievances? I know you've been, you've been going through the vetting process, and you say, we've had some grievances and so on. Does it run as deep as what we hear from the NUP camp?
Well,
or you're good at managing the press, managing the optics?
I have been a member of the party electoral commission in FDC since 2009. So I have so many years of experience in handling internal party processes. In FDC we had a number of challenging situations. Somebody will say there was an election between General Muntu and Ndala Mafabi in 2012. But I was in prison during that particular period. So that election was not handled or managed by me. In 2012, I was charged with treason and concealment of treason. and put into zero for 6 months. In 2016, same thing. So the 2 elections in FDC that were challenging were not managed by me. But all other elections that were managed by myself have been very, very transparent. And that is why the party, in its infancy, thought that I had the best mentor to manage the elections. Now, of course, there cannot be an election or a process without any challenge. During the vetting processes, we had interests at play. Of course, 3-4 people would present themselves for a particular position. And you would have leaders from a particular area saying, for us, this is our preferred candidate. Then you have other leaders who are saying, but this person has been with us for 10, 20 years in the struggle. Then there is this one who came in from the NRM recently, but who offers the party the best chance of winning the constituency. Now, as a commission, we had to look at all that, and we set clear vetting guidelines. And I can tell you that the decisions we made were in the best interest of the party. Today, the reality is that there are senior leaders who may not want to agree to me because I decided to take a radical position that was in the interest of the party without fear or favor. We looked at each case as it presented. Whoever you are in the party, whatever position you hold in the party, we had to take decisions that are in the best interest of the party. And I would clearly tell you, if you are not satisfied, please petition the process. 3 petitions made it to the Council of Eminent Persons. And the decisions in all the 3 cases were that they did not find any reason to overturn the decisions of the Party Electoral Commission. In all the 3 cases. I have only seen 2 cases of people who have gone to the media. One in Kawa 2 from Mr. Simwe, who has gone to the media to say that we have a Mulangira in the party and all such things. I have also seen a case in Lubaga somewhere of someone called Sechundwa, who are out there in the media saying that the processes were not fair. Now, given that we have done this across the country, not only in Kampala, and we have 2 cases of people who are out there in the media saying all these things, it should really be testament to how robust, free and fair our processes have been. So, well, we could have done better, as I said, because constitutionally we should have had party structures right from the villages to sub-counties, rather villages to parishes, to sub-counties, to constituency and at district level, which would be the electoral college that would determine flag bearers. But we only had 2 months and we were not able to do that. Neither did we have the resources. So we had to use vetting as an option, and we had to use it in the best way we could to give the party the best shot at fielding the best candidates. And let's not forget that the environment within which we're operating as a party is very, very tight, given that our patriarch, Dr. Besigye, is still incarcerated. So we've really had to deal with so many challenges. But we are really trying.
Thank you. No, you can finish because I wanted to just ask
of course,
Sarah.
Of course, that also has a bearing on whether, as a party, we will field a presidential candidate or not. We are still discussing internally on the right position on whether we should field a presidential candidate or not.
But you recently had an MOU with cooperation agreement or an MOU with ANT, and we know that General Muntu is the presidential flag bearer of ANT. So the assumption would be,
but you see,
would you rally behind him?
As PFF, we do not have a presidential candidate yet, and so we are still discussing internally.
So if
but it is our considered view as PFF
to field the candidate,
that we should, as much as possible, field a joint opposition candidate. So we still appeal to other political players to sit together and let's agree on a joint opposition candidate.
Thank you. Sarah, I'm coming to you. There's a comment coming in my inbox here that in the DP, some members are still not comfortable seeing the spouse of the party president, Ms. Beatrice Mao, coming through as the flag bearer for the Lord Mayor for Kampala. No one dared to challenge her, but deep down, the sentiment is that it would be a waste of time. The election of the party president is still a court matter, and some people still feel it wasn't done in the right manner. How would you respond to this?
The response is quite very clear. Beatrice is a citizen of Uganda, legally allowed to contest to run for any office. And I also need to remind that listener that in 2021, Beatrice attempted to contest to run for the mayoral seat even before she was officially
married to
Honorable Norbert Mao. But because she didn't have a national identity card, remember she was a citizen of UK, and I think maybe there was a miscalculation somewhere. She didn't follow the rightful procedures and the rest of it all. So someone putting up a flatting statement against her because she is the spouse of Honorable Norbert Mao, for me it holds no water. Yeah, it holds no water because after all, President Museveni's wife is the Minister of Uganda. She's the Minister of Sports and Education. Why should you exempt Beatrice from running for mayoral seat? Muhoozi and the son is CDF. What is different? I mean, I have no problem with the wife of maybe Chagulanyi or Byanyima running for any political office as long as they are legally, he's a lawyer here, he can guide. I do not think the Constitution of Uganda bars anybody. Number two, I think it's a waste of time. Political parties are there to front candidates. It's not a waste of time. Are we saying that it is a waste of time also to run against NRM at all levels? No. So it is not a waste of time. Number two, there were two candidates in the race. That was Beatrice, together with the counterpart who decided. Muziria, his name is a little bit hard. It's a little bit difficult for me to pronounce. But they sat down. The two of them agreed. And I can say without your fear or favor, the two of them sat down and agreed. They weighed their options, and the gentleman stepped down for Honorable Beatrice, and that's why you saw a press conference. They ran a press conference, and today we have one mayoral candidate who was really nominated.
We have 3 to 4 minutes to finish. But Honorable Kaba Ziguruka, this is for you. The joint opposition candidate that Kaba Ziguruka is talking about is and will stay an elusive talk, given the egoistic feelings or nature of our opposition leaders. See what happened in the TDA process and how everyone is power hungry within their own parties and how they continue to hang on to their positions. And this has been one of the reasons why the opposition parties keep splitting and forming other new parties. Your quick response. And of course, I'd also like to hear your thoughts as we conclude. The biggest takeaway that you want to leave the listeners with today. I'll start with you, then I'll go to Nakandi and then come back to Sarah.
Well, I am internally optimistic. Whatever happened in the TDA notwithstanding, I still think that we should strive to have a joint opposition candidate. Dr. Besigye has told us on a number of occasions where we have interacted with him in jail that he will not be on the ballot paper. And that is one of the biggest fears of our brothers and sisters in the other parties at Dr. Besigye. But in this particular election, he says he will definitely not be offering himself. And so he urges us as PFF to work with the other parties. And we've managed to agree on some basics with the ANT. And we're still hopeful that our brothers in NUP will come on board so that we agree on a joint opposition candidate.
Okay. And what would be your final message to voters? We are running out of time. What should the voter be paying attention to as we count down to 2026?
Of course, I expect the voters out there to rally behind the forces that want to change the course that the country is taking.
Thank you.
And those are the opposition parties.
Winfred, your message to the voters, what should the voter out there pay attention to?
Yeah, thank you so much. We should be prepared for military involvement. It will come in all shapes and forms. Should also be prepared for voter bravery. There's a lot of resources at the disposal of the NRM government. They will do whatever they think it takes to cling on to power, but also to impose leaders that people do not want on them. But we are ready to face all of that, and I urge voters to look out for the best candidates.
Thank you.
I still believe and urge voters, President Kyagulanyi is here.
Sarah.
Yes, of course, my colleagues, I believe in the same school of thought, especially the issues of militarization of politics and elections coming in 2026 general election. As it is, we are really oppressed, we are under siege, kind of. But also we should not lose hope completely. I expect a lot of surprises in the 2026 general elections. Just like you see, when an underdog is going for a football match, they are always underestimated. But with what happened in the NRM primaries, we are going to see a lot of tongue twists across the country. And for ourselves, especially me who comes from Greater Nebi Pakwach, Nebi Zombo, the people who have always seen being bragging around of voting highly for NRM, the question to them, my voters of Zombo, what have you benefited? The roads, and yet you have so many goods that go to Congo via Goli, via Vura, Zeu, but still the status quo is the same.
Thank you. Thank you very much to you, Ms. Sarah Dong, President, DP Women's League, Zombo District 1 MP aspirant. Honorable Michael Kabaziguruka, Chairperson, PFF Electoral Commission, aspiring MP for Nakawa Eastern U, Winfred Nakandi, member of the National Unity Platform, former aspirant for Kampala Woman MP Bashir. Let us know if she changes her mind to contest. Thank you very much to you all for your thoughts, for your insights on the show. I am Judith Atim. This is KFM VPN. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next Saturday. It is bye-bye and have yourselves a pleasant weekend.